Hello everybody and welcome to our intro webinar. We are so pleased that you can make it today. We're gonna talk a little bit about what we do, how we do it, and how it can help you. So how did quantum healing sound start? It was about 10 or 12 years ago that in a meditation I got that I had to use music to create a wave of gratitude. And I didn't know how that would look like or what it was about, but I started doing research on sound and I came across these frequencies that through the years I kept studying. Actually, I got a lot into quantum physics and quantum mechanics and figuring out what the wavelengths of the music would be corresponding to the chakras and to the body's energy and how music would actually affect the body and the mind and the thought process. And it's been all these years in the making. The original thought was to do a concert called the Gratitude Concerts, which is now in process of getting organized, where people would come and with the music vibrate at such a high frequency of love and gratitude that they would come out and by the process of what's called entrainment, which I'll explain a little bit more in detail after, would vibrate very, very high, and then they would come in contact with others and they would be almost like a joy virus spreading around love and gratitude, and it would create ripples of gratitude and love throughout the planet. So that was the original intention, and slowly it evolved into what quantum healing sounds is today, which is a process of going through frequencies with music, with sounding of my voice, and these particular solfeggio frequencies and breath work, so that the body's energy centers can get realigned, reactivated, and it activates several systems in the body. It activates the sense of well-being. It also activates the self-healing mechanism of the body, and also activates the pineal gland, which we'll talk about more in detail later.
The solfeggio frequencies were used in Gregorian chants, and these are known to be very healing. In modern times, as musicians started traveling and playing their instruments in different settings, a standard was required. So the frequency 440 was chosen, and the solfeggio frequencies kind of fell by the wayside. But these have been proven to align, activate, and heal the chakras. The chakras are the body's energy centers, and they run across a vertical channel that runs through the center of the body, and they're placed in different positions. There are many chakras in the bodies, but for the purposes of our webinar, we're going to focus on the 7 main chakras.
What is VAX? Well, actually VAK is a way of teaching that is commonly known, and it uses the senses: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is sense of touch. We added an extra component, which we call it sensorial, which is olfactory. So we added sense of smell into the mix, so that when we do our seminars and do our workshops and use the quantum healing sounds, we are really engaging all the senses into the mix, so that it creates a huge quantum leap and a huge transformation. So again, what is cymatics? Cymatics is the visual representation of sound. And this started with a scientist called Hans Jenny. I can't remember the year right now, but he started realizing that the sound waves behaved in a certain pattern, and he started doing experiments with how the sound would affect water, how it would affect some sort of powders or sands, and it created these beautiful, beautiful fractals. And depending on what the frequency of the tone would be, the different fractals would be made. It's amazing. A lot of people are doing cymatics with different materials, and we recently came across some wonderful guys that study physics in Europe, and they're doing experiments with cymatics on fire, and it's really extraordinary how the sound will affect the flame, will affect the water, and So the auditory, once again, we use sounding of the voice. We use many different types of instruments like drums or wind instruments. Actually any kind of instrument, we just tune them to these solfeggio frequencies that we're going to talk about in a moment. And we also use breath work, where we actually use the breath to have the energy flow, and sometimes the participants are invited to do their own breath work along with us. It's really fun. The way we bring the kinesthetic part of it into play is that when we have live workshops, we usually have intention stones that correspond to the colors of the chakras, which are also part of the visual. And as you touch these stones, or you put your intention into them, you're engaging your sense of touch. And also we use, we place our intention into the stone, and as time goes by, you can go back to the stone, and just looking at it will kind of make you remember the intention and keep it alive in the process as you work on it. So it allows for a quicker manifestation of your goals and dreams. We also use writing your intentions, because as you write down, a lot of people ask me, well, I thought of it, it's enough that I thought about my intention. Well, it's great that you think about it, but what happens when you actually write it down, you take the pen, you take the paper, and you put your intentions in writing, you're actually creating sort of magic. It's like an alchemy, because you are bringing your thoughts from the ether, from the collective consciousness. You're gonna personalize them for yourself, and as you write them down, you are actually bringing them into this dimension. You are creating whatever your dreams or your desires are. You are really putting them down, writing them down, and that kind of anchors them into this reality. One. So our added component, the scent, right? Using smells. Have you ever walked into a room and got a whiff of some scent or a special smell, like maybe cookies, and did it transport you to a time maybe when you were little, and it reminded you maybe of your grandmother when she was baking cookies, or you were baking cookies as a little child? Or I have a particular memory with smell that's very, very strong, which is there's this fruit that's I don't even know what it's called in English actually, but it's a white fruit, sort of like a guanabana or soursop, but it has a different taste, and it has a green skin and a white inside. And every time I smell this fruit, it reminds me of my great-grandfather, because I used to visit when I was a very little girl, and every afternoon he would eat one of these fruits. So every time I come in contact with that smell, it reminds me, I have really fond memories of my great-grandfather. So in the same way, what we've developed is using essential oils that are very highly vibrating. We're going to talk about the oils in a little bit too. But we place our intention and we smell the oil. So we're creating something that's called anchoring. And what happens is you use your little oils, and every day after the seminar, after a workshop, or after a webinar, you keep working on your intentions. So all you have to do is kind of take a little smell or dab it on certain points, different points in the body that will guide you through the process as we go along for each energy center, because there's a different kind of oil for different for each energy center, and it creates different it has different meanings, and it has different purposes. So what we would do is you place your intention and you anchor it to the smell. So whenever you smell the oil again, or dab it excuse me, whenever you smell the oil or dab it in certain points of your body, it will re-energize that memory and keep it alive and keep it vibrating at that frequency. So you're vibrating at that frequency, and that will bring the object of your desire to you in a much quicker fashion. are made of 75% water, even more when we are tiny babies. And we're also made of space, and we are made of frequency, vibration. Space and sound is frequency and vibration. So the way sound affects the body is by vibrating at a certain wavelength, and our bodies, by the process of entrainment, remember I spoke about it a little earlier, it's when two objects that are vibrating at a different frequency, the frequency that's a higher frequency will pull the one that's lower frequency to vibrate at the same level. So if we have a beautiful piece of music and we're kind of feeling blue or sad or not vibrating at a high speed, which is joy, for example, when we hear this beautiful piece of music, our body, our vibration that's low, will come up to join the vibration of the music, the high vibration, and that's why people say that music has such healing properties, and that's part of the process. The way we came across the sound, quantum healing sounds, was inspired by Dr. Masaru Emoto, who wrote the book Messages in Water, and he claimed, and I wholeheartedly believe, that water holds a memory. So if we go back to think to the body's percentage of water, then you obviously can link the fact that the water in our bodies holds certain memories, patterns, and programming that quantum healing sounds can actually deprogram, reprogram, and transform within your body.